just want to show you how to set up and use your new Bionet Q series ECG. There's two products in the model. The Q50 ECG has an 8-inch colour touchscreen and the Q70 has a 10.1-inch colour touchscreen plus a physical keyboard. Everything else about them is identical. The way they're used and operated is exactly the same. Now, the first thing we do, we can remove the protective film from the surface of the screen and discard that. And then we need to put the battery in the device. So we turn it over, just get a standard sized Phillips head screwdriver and remove the screw that sits in there underneath holding that door closed. And then we turn it over with your hand under just to catch that screw and we'll let it fall out. Put it aside so we don't lose it. And then we slide this door across. Now your battery has got a plastic connector on it with a lock on one side. You just line that up so the lock snaps into place. Put the battery into the housing and just make sure that the connector and the cabling is out of the way of the door so it doesn't get jammed or kicked under the door. And then we push it closed and put that screw back into place. So this device will work off mains power, it'll also work off the battery when connected, and it'll charge the battery whilst it's connected to mains power. Now to add the paper into the device, we've got a drawer on the left hand side. We just lever that up and pull it out. There's a little hole in the bottom you can put your finger through. So if you do need to remove the paper once it's in there, push your finger up and it makes it easier to remove the paper. Now the paper has some wide white band at the top and a small black dot at the bottom. So the orientation is the white goes to the top, the black to the bottom, and that's the way it sits in the tray. It's Z-fold A4 printout, so you just pull out your first piece of paper, make sure it's a bit straight and close the door and it'll automatically work out where the first fold is when we do our print. So that's how you set up the device ready to go. We've got an LED on the front that'll show you when it's charging or when it's plugged into mains power or just battery only. So now I'll show you on the Q70 over here how to actually use the device. Now we've got a power button here. We just press and hold that power button for about 3 seconds. That'll turn the unit on. And once it comes up with our display screen, we're going to have 4 large icons on the front, and I'll go through how to use those. One thing that will come up the first time you use it is the requirement for an admin username and password, and the password and admin and username are the same. It's admin for both in lowercase. So we just type in ADMIN, and log in. And I'll go through how to actually change that password and username so that it disappears and you don't need to do it every time you log in. Okay, so here we have a work list, ECG, Spiro and file, and what we need to focus on is really ECG and file. The work list is something that's going to be used more on a hospital EMR system with a wireless network connectivity where it preloads the patient work list. But when we press on file, sorry, I should have also said spirometry will be coming late 2025, but for now it's not available yet. So we have setup and go to as the main buttons on this screen here. So go to will allow us to go to any of those areas we just saw on the first bit, ECG, Spiro and file. And setup allows us to go into the menus. So we're going to go in and turn that password off. So we go setup and then system at the top and then security down here on the side. And single sign-on is turned off. That means you need to sign on every single time. We're going to turn single sign-on on, and now it won't ask you for a username and password every time you turn the device on. And we say OK. Now the next thing we want to do is configure the way the device handles reporting. So we have a memory inside that'll hold up to 500 ECG tests. We have a printer on the side, and we have a USB port at the back where you can put a USB drive in to capture PDF copies, so you can import those into your patient notes on the PC. So to configure all that, we go into setup, we say export. The target is not the server, the target is USB. We say OK. The format is not Bionet, it's PDF, and we say OK. So that now means that when you generate a report and it prints to the printer and saves to memory, it'll also save a copy to the USB drive if it's plugged in. So the next thing we need to do though is the way we use this is using the auto button. So we're going to configure the way that auto button works. When you press and hold the auto button, within 3 seconds, it'll start the process of capturing the ECG, saving it to memory, printing the report, and and it will save a copy to USB if it's configured that way. So we need to tell it how to configure. So we go into setup and we say the auto button, so there. Store is on, which means it's saving it to internal memory. Printout is on, so it's printing it, and export is off. And we change that to USB and say OK. So now it'll save it in memory, print it to the printer, and export it to USB. If you don't want it to do any of those things, you just want it to save to USB and not to the printer, for example, then you would just turn the printer off and leave export on. I don't have a USB stick in this one at the moment, so I'm going to leave printout on, but I'm going to turn the USB off, just so that it doesn't give an error that there's no USB stick plugged in. And now we're set up and ready to go. So that's how quick and easy it is to set it up. You only really need to do that once. Now to do an ECG, I've got a simulator connected here. All we're going to do is hit the Go To button, ECG. This takes us to the ECG screen. And we can see a waveform. So we're seeing a green waveform on a black screen. The default setting is actually white with pink lines, and the QRS sound is on. So this is how it would normally appear. You'd have the white background and you'd have that constant beeping in time with the heart rate. If you don't want the beeping on, you go into setup, turn the QRS sound off, and if you want it on black background, not white, you go in, change that over the background side here and say OK. Now that we've got the display on the screen, we need to take or capture the report. So we can enter the patient information, we can put in an ID number, we can put in a first name, surname, date of birth. I'm just going to make one up. And we can then say OK. There's additional information you can put in if you wish, you don't need to. So now it's got the patient information here, and all we do is we press and hold the auto button for 3 seconds, and it begins the process of now capturing the ECG. So it's taking that 10 seconds of ECG data. It'll automatically display it on the screen. If there are any issues with that patient, it'll pop up here with a message. Some basic interpretation information will come up on the live view. Here's our report. If we're OK with it, we say OK, and it now is printing to the printout, and if we had it configured, it would be saving it automatically to the USB drive. Okay, and here's the printout here. Now, whilst this is still working in the background, it's actually still recording, so we can have up to 30 minutes of what's called full disclosure. So I'm just going to make a quick change to the simulator here. There's a little bit of instant information saying there's some sort of issue. And if I go to the disclosure screen, it'll show me all of the data from this one lead since we've turned the unit on. And we can go back and select a different area, press the auto button and generate a new report from that section. So if there was an event that occurred, like this PVC here that we may have missed, we can go highlight that section on the screen, press the auto button, and it'll do another report based on just that information there. And it'll print that one a lot quicker because it's already saved it. It doesn't need to do its 10 seconds of acquisition. And to go back to the live full waveform, we just press close. Once that's done, we press close, and we're back to our normal waveform, and we're ready to go. So we can then, when we're finished, press and hold the power button for 3 seconds to shut it down. And it'll take a few seconds to give you a message sometimes, depending on how much data it's saving, but it will, after a few seconds, shut down, and then it's ready to go for the next patient. Thank you.